presentation position. So toes, you're going to turn and face your horse's muzzle, and then toes towards your opposite front foot. Yep, just like that. There you go. Now, we're going to push them back a couple of steps with our chain.
There you go. Put your toes together.
And what you're going to do is just pull back, and make them back a couple steps. And this is going to tell you, are they responding? So you're just going to push your horse back, just a couple steps backwards. Now, we're not in backup position, but they have to learn to give from that chain. This is our beginning basics of setups. Now, let's pull them forward a couple of steps. Pull. And if you find that they don't really want to move, if we've got one that's like, I don't want to do this. Hey, bring me Igor, because I know that he's not going to argue with me. Today. Yeah, that was yesterday. Okay, so we're starting. And this is the same thing that you can do with finished show horses also that just need a reminder of what to do. Like if I'm standing here and I just a little bit and he's not doing it, I'm going to push. Remind him that when I pull, he's to give. Walking forward, push with my hand. And I'm not pulling, I'm pushing him forward with my hand. Push it. And he's waiting. Now we also want him to give to that chain downward. Pull, away. So this is all our beginning exercise. And these are good warm-ups.
Now don't lean your head over like that, over the horse. Because if they decide to do what he just did, you're going to lose some teeth. If they come up and you're leaned over, you're going to get cracked up in the face. All right. So when you pull them down and keep yourself standing straight. Don't lean down over the horse's head like that, because you really don't want to get popped in the mouth. It's not.
And he's coming nicely. Everybody put your horse forward a couple steps, then push him back a couple steps. And he's moving off that chain nice, bringing his nose in. And then let's go ahead and stop. And square up, and there's a million different ways to set your horse. We like to set any foot we want to set. A lot of people will not set their right hind foot, they'll set everything else around the right hind foot. Does everybody do? What do you do, Alex? You keep the right hind foot steady. And a lot of people do that. Our opinion is, we do show a lot of these horses in halter also. Well, what if that? And you do want to limit your setup time to about a good count of 3. So that's 1, 1,000, 2, 2,000, 3, 3,000. You want to be set. Now, as you're beginning or as you're teaching a horse, obviously that might take a little bit longer. And you do want to get your horse to stand all the way correct. And another thing that will help you keep your horse from moving after you've set your horse, because you don't want your horse to move a foot after you're done setting him, is in your practice and as you're teaching that horse, once you step back and present, don't let him move. Don't change your mind. Because I'll see that, and we actually are teaching our horse to move after we do that presentation.
The thing to remember is, I don't care how good they are at setting up on a regular basis.
Go right into line.
You need to keep practicing with that, because
About a horse's length
when they will decide not to set up is when you're showing them.
Yeah. About a horse's length between. Now, something that I try to remind my clients is you want your hands up and out in front of you. And I almost, well, the kids, I always say, pretend you're holding a cookie tray. Okay? Or if you're older, maybe you'll recognize the way a waiter has a towel over their forearm. You want it to be steady and parallel to the ground, their forearm. So eyes up, holding that cookie tray, okay, out in front of you. And I'll even have them practice this at home in front of a mirror, because you don't want to look stiff or overly animated. And sometimes you can't tell unless you're seeing yourself.
Okay.
And we also want to make sure we're at a throat latch. And if you get too close, go ahead and just halt for a moment, because I don't want you to just slow down at your walk. Your walk should be rather brisk. Remember, it should be a brisk forward walk but not overly animated. You don't want to look like you're walking over trot poles. And keep your hands up, holding your cookie tray. And you should be able to see your horse's eye out of your peripheral vision to the right. Because you don't want to be dragging or pulling your horse, you want to be pushing it in front of you. You can't get lost in the crowd because they're looking at you one at a time. Good, and keep that chin up. And Alex, go ahead and push your horse's nose in front of you just a little bit more. Good. And keep your hands up. Everybody halt. And now, and back. And he's just a little bit like, what? We're stopping and backing, you're supposed to turn and back.
Yeah, we've never done that.
Right. Yes, and this is why you want to practice this, to let your horse know it's not just my chain you're following. But remember, if you're going to kiss in practice, you better kiss when you're showing, or your horse is going to be dead and lethargic. And some people, when they show, get very nervous and they forget to communicate with their horse. If that's you, don't kiss or cluck in practice. Good. Round that turn, you're young, you can talk for a little while. There you go, keep those elbows in, halt, and now just back up a couple steps. Good, and that one tried. And so, you know, you're not gonna smack them when they don't really know what they're doing. Behind her, so everybody can move up a little, and then Katie will get behind Alex. And hands up, holding a cookie tray, holding your cookie tray. Push, 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 halt, and then backing up. And see, this exercise, once he starts understanding what we're doing, is going to sharpen up that. Hand up a little more and halt. And back a couple steps. Very nice. And walk. Okay, Katie. And push, 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 push. Keep pushing. Push, 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 push. And halt. And back. And we want our halt to back a little bit quicker. I can't pinpoint, but that was just a nice pattern. They were just so together. And that takes practice and somebody watching you all the time, because you can't watch yourself, and getting you back into that hole. You know, keeping those hands up, keeping that chin up, not being overly animated. And I would say more so the older. Hands out in front. And we can go all the way down to the other end. That way, that'll keep us separated a little more. And keep pushing their nose out. So, Brucey, when you come to where everybody else is turning across, keep going straight. That way we'll have a bigger arena to work with. So right now, I've discussed a couple of the calisthenics that we do in our warm-up. The first one was our setups. We'll do 15 to 25 setups. And then depending on the horses that we're working that day, if you have a problem stopper, we'll do 10 to 25 of the jog, stop, back exercises with a little bit of reprimand. And when we're practicing, we're not showing. So we have to reprimand and discipline that horse if need be and correct it. So we're not just, I call it willy wallering, and I don't know how I come up with that term, but just kind of.
They'll say, well, the horse, I didn't get the setup, you know, the way I wanted or fast enough or something like that. And of course, Vicki and I have evaluated it, and we might look at him and say, but that's the best you ever got at home. You didn't ask any more at home. And the horse did exactly as well in the show pen as it does at home when you practice. Why are you mad at your horse? You know, practice a little more, work a little harder, and if that horse is doing as well at a show for you now as he does at home, geez, if you step it up at home, theory says he's going to step it up in the show pen for you and be even better. How hard you work at home will determine how well you do at the horse show.